Snow is falling all around me. Children playing, having fun. 'Tis the season for love and understand I. Happy Christmas, everyone. Boom, ta, boom, boom, ta, boom, boom. Christmas freestyle, boom, 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 ba. Snow was falling all around me, you got that? Hey, you don't want to come at me, you big twat. Hey, you do have a big twat, big pussy hole. Hey, man, you are a pussy hole. I'm so sorry that I went so vulgar. I just want to eat a burger. Hey, it's Christmas, it's a silly season, y'all. I want to put some chips in my gob. I want McDonald's and chips. I want McDonald's and chips on the hips. May moment on the lips, then for the rest of your life it's on your hips. Unless you want to lose weight, PT. Go to a personal trainer, you big gee. You big fat gee, what's the matter with you? Why don't you just fucking lose that weight, you big tool? I don't know what is wrong with you. You've had some 10 pints and now you want some gruel. You want some big food. You want some big goo. Put the tits on your head. Put the tits on your head. Why am I saying that? You need to put tits on your head. Ow! Happy Christmas, everyone. Welcome to Tony Cantwell's Shit Show. I'm going to fix this mic here. Welcome to Tony Cantwell's Shit Show. Christmas Silly Billy edition. Honk, 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 honk. That is the Christmas Goose bringing us in here for a brand new year of Christmas. I don't know what I'm talking about. How are you getting on? Have you got all your bits? Huh? Did I stutter? Answer me. You know, earphones technically work both ways. They're just wired differently. So listen, if you're listening to this, take out your earbuds, swap the red wire for the red wire for the blue wire, and shout back at me through the microphone. It's now a microphone. Have you got all your bits? Yes, I got whiskey stones for John in work because it's a faux pas to put water and ice in your whiskey. I got a ukulele for my nephew who can't fucking read. I've got all my bits. And I've had a load of pints on the way. It's too many pints, guys. I haven't had my silliest of nights yet. I haven't had my silly night yet. I haven't gone 10 deep. I haven't had so many pints of Guinness I can't open my eyes. And not because I'm falling asleep, but because my face has got so puffy. I haven't had that hangover where it feels like I'm literally been unplugged from the Matrix and I'm like, do you know that? Like, water. I haven't had that yet. But guys, it is the silly season. And look, this episode is not about that. This is not about the birth of Christ. Hey man, yeah. You can. I'll take the gold, but you can keep the myrrh. You know, that was one of my chat-up lines from last week. I had some Christmas chat-up lines. One I didn't get to use for you was, "Hey baby, I come bearing gifts: gold, frankincense, and rare." Kind of. Hey girl, if I was Santa, I'd want that ass on a salsa with some milk. So yeah, I do. Yeah. So whatever. This is not. The thing is, Christmas gets less Christmassy the further into Christmas you get. Literally by, Christmas Eve, you're like, I'm fucking done with this. You know what I mean? Christmas Day. Hey, let's watch the best of the two Ronnies Christmas specials on Dave. Remember Eartha Kitt? Of course I do, because I'm a fan of the original Batman series, where she played Catwoman. I think. Santa Buddy. Why is Michael Bublé so homophobic that he cannot say baby because Santa's a man? Santa Pally, I'm in the big fat cunt with the long white beard. Why can't he just say, Santa baby, I'm a man and you are a man. We're maybe bi, Because I have a wife, but I can fuck you. Why am I getting so blue when it's red for Christmas? So I don't really have. I mean, come on, I don't have nothing fucking Christmassy to talk about. Have you got your bits? Have you been a good boy? Have you been a good boy? Or hey, did you do something this year? Are you in the middle of a circle of lies about something you've done? If the truth came out now, think about this. Would it ruin your friendship with your best friends? Ooh, you don't want to think about that. And that's not what Christmas is about. Forget what you did this year. This is the year of acting like, because you're in good mood for the month of December, you've been a good person all year. Right, I think that's as good an intro as any. Welcome, everyone, on Christmas Eve, or whenever you're listening to this, to Tony Cantwell's complete and utter, absolute shit show. It's Tony Cantwell's shit show. Hear that? Me pouring a bit of coffee. French press, baby. And let me tell you this, guys. Similarly to the Whiskey Stones, well, not the same thing, but whatever. You know when people get into something like coffee or whiskey and they just leapfrog all the things and become a snob in it overnight? You know, like that's something that this generation has because of the internet. We can act like an expert in everything based on something that we've literally just read the day before. But let me tell you this. I know this about coffee. When you're putting a load of coffee in a French press and then your mate is pushing it down with like all of his emotions about all the bad things he did this Christmas, and he's like, you got to tell that guy, hey, let it stew. Let it percolate. You're pushing it down too hard. I think you'll find once it's rested, it's easy to push down. Do you hear that shite outside? Do they not know I am making history? All the deliveries are coming in for Christmas in the shop nearby, and you can fucking, I tell you, you can fucking hear it. But anyway, guys, I don't really have anything to talk about Christmas. I'm all Christmased out, guys. But what I am going to talk to you about is 2 films that I saw over the weekend that I've given myself the time to think about, and I just don't want to vomit out all whatever. Over the weekend I went to go see Cats, and I went to go see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And this is what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to talk about Cats, and I'm going to talk about Star Wars. And I'm going to talk about Cats first, because I feel like there's no spoilers in that, you know. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to spoil everything. I'll talk about everything, but I won't tell you who gets the jellicle choice at the end. Right? So don't worry about that. I'm not going to spoil the ending. And then I'm going to talk about Star Wars. And if you're thinking, oh God, I hate the idea of both of these, I'll see you next week. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, I hope your free content. I hope the free content didn't annoy you. I hope me trying to help you on your commute to work didn't piss you off. The free content, guys. I'm not even selling ad space yet. Speaking of which, if you would like to be a sponsor on this show, the rates are very reasonable, and I will sell anything. Hey guys, have you ever noticed Statoil is class? Well, what's even better? Let me tell you, cigarettes. And there is nothing wrong with either of them. So yeah, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Star Wars, but I'm going to talk about it spoiler free, and then I'm going to, and then if you want to continue listening, there'll be more spoilers when I really get into it. Star Wars, to be perfectly honest, is probably going to be the crux, or should I say the hooks of this episode. But what I'm going to do, because I'm a real nice guy, is before I start talking about spoilers, I'm going to end the show. Right? I'm going to end the show, theme song and all, so that you get closure. So that you get closure on this episode, so you don't feel, Jesus. Because sometimes I listen to podcasts and they're like, well, if you want to stop listening now, we're going to be talking about spoilers. And I'm like, I don't want to turn it off. You know what I mean? I feel like it's still on. And then I end up getting things spoiled for me. But don't worry, guys. I am going to close this out, theme song and all, and then we'll start up again and we'll talk about spoilers. So, Cats. I went to go see Cats. Now, let me backtrack a little bit here. Because let me backtrack a little bit here. Basically, for people who don't know, I am the founder, chairperson, timekeeper, and head of the CCF Dublin. CCF is Cartoon Catfuckers Dublin. Don't worry, guys. People have been asking me. We're going to be having the enamel membership badges on sale in the new year. And the Cartoon Catfuckers are a community of like-minded people who, since a very early age, possibly even their earliest sexual memory, was to do with a cartoon cat. So in some cases it was Nala from The Lion King. In some cases it was Tom from Tom and Jerry's absolute babe of a girlfriend. Whatever it was, there was an awakening. It happened. And we are irrevocably changed. The CCF really came into fruition, or really came, well, it really unified when, as I'm sure you've known from following my social media at Tony Horror, which I should actually highlight at the end of every episode, when we basically pulled together to have, like they did with Sonic the Hedgehog, where they released the trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog film. People were up in arms, and then they re-edited Sonic the Hedgehog to make him look more palatable for the consumer. We rallied together similarly, and we got all the way to Bob Iger, the head of Disney, and asked him to change the character model for Nala in the latest Lion King movie to make her more sexy. The photo likeness we were not happy with. It was too on the cat side. We were not happy with that. We wanted something in terms of a kind of cartoony, lovely sexy eyes, lovely lips, little black lips. Sorry, I'm salivating here. And we wanted something, and we thought we were successful. I was, as you know, invited to the premiere of The Lion King. As it turned out, it had been a ruse. I was essentially my social media was hijacked to promote this trash, and the film that I saw was no re-edited film. This should have been step, this should have been flag number one with Disney. But I want to talk. So naturally, when the film Cats was announced, I was getting message after message saying, Tony, as chairperson of the CCF Dublin, what is your stance on Tom Hooper's Cats? Now, I'm going to get to that in a second, but I think to put this into context, I want to tell you a bit about my history with Cats. Not the musical, I've never seen that trash, but in terms of my relationship with actual cats, and how I found the healthy balance of loving cats and being attracted to them. So, the first cat I ever fell for was, I don't even remember her name now, but she at my friend Emer's house, she used to have a lot of house parties. You just end up in a room somewhere, and I had a bit too much to drink, and I was not acting myself. And I think I was going through my phase of, going up to girls that I liked, saying stuff like, "Hey, am I scaring you? Am I blowing your mind?" That kind of thing. Just trying to be weird. Just trying to be weird for the sake of being weird. Putting a bloody pillow on my head, acting like it was an admiral's. It was very admirable of me, like an admiral's 3-point hat. I don't know if you've ever done this at home, but basically, if you get a cushion and you punch in one of the corners, you can wear it as a 3-corner hat. And I was doing that, and I was going around parties saying to girls I liked, "Am I scaring you?" So naturally, I ended up in a corner on my own. And this gorgeous snowy white cat came over and lay in my lap, and I gave it a little rub, and I spent the whole night with this thing. And we clicked on a different level. We clicked on a. She saw me in every way a man needs to be seen. Whatever the fuck I'm talking about. I got on very well with this cat, and I never really hung out with a cat. We had a cat growing up, me and my brother, Tiddles. And my brother constantly was trying to put Tiddles on this little bike. He was trying to make Tiddles cycle a bike. So we would put his paws on the thing and then try and pedal his little paws as well. And Tiddles hated this. So he used to like meow and run away from the room. And so one day we came home and Tiddles was gone. And I only remember having Tiddles for a very short period of time. And we said, "Ma'am, where's Tiddles?" And my mum said, "Tiddles ran away because you were being too cruel with him. You were being so cruel to poor Tiddles that Tiddles ran away and essentially would rather die in the wilderness than be your friend." About 4 years ago, I found out that my mum actually gave Tiddles away. So I've been living with that, that cruelty. Anyway, look, I'm talking shy. So this cat, I got on very well with this new cat. And it set me on a new kind of, I'm talking about this far too seriously. Look, cartoon cats, they're fucking hot, man. And I've always said that if I was a drag act, my drag persona would be a hybrid of an Andrew Lloyd Webber's cat from the musical Cats, the stage musical, a mixture between that and Shawn Michaels. And I'd call him Litterbox with 3 X's. So essentially an Andrew Lloyd Webber's cat with all of Shawn Michaels' leather chaps and chains and all that kind of, leather daddy stuff. My wife, for a couple of Halloweens ago, dressed up as an Andrew Lloyd Webber's cat to surprise me. And I genuinely, no word of a lie, couldn't even look or speak with her for most of the night, for about 3 hours. When she showed up dressed as this thing, everything I thought I always wanted, it was like seeing a kid meet fucking Katie Taylor on the Late Late Show. I just froze, and I didn't know what to do. But that's kind of my history of cats, right? I mean, it's difficult to talk about it in this kind of hybrid, earnest way and also act like this character who really fucking fancies cats. But the reality is, I like them. So when Tom Hooper's Cats was announced, I thought, right, sexy cat people, this is going to be great. This is going to be everything I always wanted. Turns out you can get too much of a good thing. This guy, Tom Hooper, apparently only finished editing this film the day before I saw it. I saw it opening day, right? Apparently, this guy finished editing this. I mean, you saw the trailer. It broke the internet. These guys they're sexy human bodies, but they have tails and ears that don't even go where cat ears go. Like, where cat ears go. Like, sometimes when you're drawing a cat, when you're drawing a cat, depending on where you put the ears, you can accidentally make it look like. Sometimes you can accidentally, if you put the ears up too high at the top of the head, it looks like a wolf. If you put them too much on the side, it looks like a mouse. So it's difficult. But these things don't look like cats. They look like sexy dancers. They look like sexy dancers with no dicks. And especially Idris Elba. When Idris Elba shows up as McCavity, and he's got that, because he's got like that gorgeous kind of like brown, shiny, silky fur, you know, when he takes off his coat, you actually get to see his body. And he doesn't have a dancer's body, he's got a fucking jacked body. And so then you see his big shoulders, you see his big chest, you see his abs, his V, and then no dick. And you're like, where is this guy's dick? Do you know what I mean? So that's the bewildering thing, and I think that's the thing that people aren't been able to put their finger on. Which species am I attracted to here? That's what's bewildering about it. It's like, wow, that cat is looking. Basically, they don't look like cats. They don't look like cats, and that's where they let down everyone. They let down the CCF. I mean, but it is a very, very horny film. I mean, there's scenes that they're pretty much saying this is cum. There's a lot of cum in this film. There's like, you know, there's a bit where they go to the milk bar with Jason Derulo, and they turn on all the taps, and everyone's lying under them, getting covered in milk. This is a fucking G-rated film. And there's another bit where they all go out to hang out with Judi Dench, and they sit under the moonlight, and for whatever happens, the moon makes their tails go hard, and they look like they're all coming. And you'd expect this has got to be Tony Cantwell's dream. Tony Cantwell, chairperson, timekeeper, adjudicator, member of the floor of the CCF community, you know, fancies cats, fancies Idris Elba. This guy's got to be swimming out of the aisles. But no, guys, the reality is it's a boring film. It's a boring film because these things don't look like cats. But having said that, I'll accept it. Like, I could have. It's a short film. It's about 90 minutes long. I could have actually watched it. I could have watched it for hours because it looks so fucked up. And I'm actually really into how fucked up it looks. As long as you accept the fact that these are not humans and they're not cats, they're their own thing. I mean, come on. Do you ever play Micro Machines? Isn't it great when you see little things? When you see things in perspective? Like there is bits where they're dancing with like a spoon that's the same size as them, and then they jump in a bin and that's the same size as them. You know, it's all over the place, and it's definitely worth a watch. I'd say you'd enjoy it. It'd be a good Christmas film if it was on TV. And it's also just so fun. Like, I mean, like if you've gone to college and you've ever had to write a thesis, or you've even had, you know, a geography thing that was part of the leaving cert, you know, something that you could do ahead of time, and you were leaving it to the last minute, and you're like, oh my God, like, and you're sweating and you're terrified and you're crying, you're whimpering to yourself because you haven't got this done. The stakes in that are so low. But that was Tom Hooper the day before getting this film out, when he's trying to fix the faces of some of the biggest stars on planet Earth to make them look like cats the day before this thing went out. So I love that. But the reality is, guys, it's a boring film. Judi Dench is pretty hot. Judi Dench is pretty hot as old Deuteronomy. She's a big, furry, which I think I'm into now. I think I'm into more of a kind of Maine Coon kind of cat, you know, rather than a kind of sleeky one. And then Ian McKellen is unreal in this. Ian McKellen is unbelievable. He just really embodies a cat. Like, he acts like a cat. He does things that they didn't need to do in CG. He says stuff like, oh, well, you know, touch wood. And then he rubs his face against the wood. And then he hisses and he goes, meow. Had they just done that, I think it could have pulled it off. But I've realized I don't want my sexy cats having hands, and I don't want them having feet. You know, I don't like human feet at the best of time. I don't want to see it on a cat. I just wrote down Mr. Mistopheles, so boring. It's a boring film, guys. The songs are boring. This is the thing. It's a difficult thing to talk about because it's not a very good film. But I appreciate them taking a swing and a miss at it. And I give it, because I want to move on to Star Wars, I'm running out of time, I give it 3 stars. Some people have given it 0 stars. I give it 3 stars. And I think it's definitely fucking worth the watch. It's not an unbearable watch. I'd give it a lash. Jesus, that was like fucking pulling teeth giving a review of that film. Yeah, that's my review of Cats. I am now going to talk. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to pour myself a glass of water and I'm going to talk about Star Wars. Okay, listen. Listen, I know you listen to this podcast. I know you guys, well, maybe you don't. Maybe people listen to this for different reasons. Maybe people listen to it just to have a bit of company. Maybe they don't find me funny at all. Maybe some people listen to it because they like the little chuckles. Maybe people listen to it for my cat content. Whatever it is. I don't think I'm probably going to be talking for the next 20 minutes about this film. And I don't think it's going to be very funny. Okay? I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be very funny. Because it's different. It's difficult, rather, to speak. You know, like you kind of look back and you're like, you know, at something fairly traumatic that happened in your life. Like I remember, you know, I remember it wasn't even traumatic. You know, this shows how privileged my life has been. I remember me and my brother were wrestling, right? And we were trying to do that thing where, you know, you do that kind of, he was trying to give me a Stone Cold Stunner. And, you know, there was a bit where like The Rock in whatever WrestleMania it was, you know, kicks Stone Cold grabs the leg, spins him around, kicks him, gives him the stunner. So we did that. And then my brother spun me around and I fell and broke my arm. Now, you know, I wasn't laughing about the fact that, you know, I broke my arm 3 days after it happened. But years later, I can look back and think, it was funny. It was funny how I broke my arm. It was funny how I couldn't sleep all night. This film has happened too recently that I can't be funny about it. I am just so unbelievably disappointed. I was angry and now I'm sad. So I don't know where this review is gonna fall. This film, do you know, I'm thinking, let's think of that French improv guy in my head, right? Don't be so, you wouldn't treat a dog like that. I'm just going to get my thoughts out and I'm not going to judge them, okay? This film is the biggest piece of shit. This film is offensively bad. This film, there was 2 Jurassic Worlds that came out, whatever, in the last 5 years, right? And in the first Jurassic World, you know, they had that scene where they had this big thing that kind of like, you know, this big, massive fucking megalodon or whatever it is that fucking jumps out of the big sea life area of Jurassic World. They're hanging fucking great white sharks for scale, and this thing jumps up and eats it in its mouth, and it's like, wow, that's cool. It's so stupid, but it's cool. And then it eats it. And you're like, this is like a thing in the middle of the park. You know, people are watching, and then all the pterodactyls start flying at people, right? That's what happens in Jurassic World. In Jurassic World 2, or whatever it's fucking called, that enclosure where that is not in the center of the island. It's now on the side of the island for the sake of the fact that they need to open it up. They need to open up the enclosure so this thing can actually get out to the sea. In the opening scene, these guys break in to try and release this thing. Or they try and open it and then this thing escapes, however it happens, right? So from one film, they changed dramatically the park layout. And the only reason for that is, the only explanation for that is, if you were to ask Colin Trevorrow, or whoever made the second film, why did you do that? The only logical answer is, fuck you. The only logical answer is, I didn't think you, idiots, would care, or notice, or what difference does it make, or chill out, man. But whatever. That pissed me off at the time. That pissed me off. I was like, right, they don't give a fuck about fans of Jurassic Park. But in reality, Jurassic Park should have only ever been one film. It should have not been anything more than that. This is just, it's just fun times. It's fun just to see the nostalgia. You know, it's fun just to see the nostalgia. This film, this is the same fuck you I honestly believe this is the same complete fuck you. I was really disappointed. You know, as you know, the Emperor's back. The Emperor's back. Okay. I'm going to try and talk about this film, spoiler free, for about 7 minutes. Okay, and then I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to go step by step this film and what I liked, what I disliked. Okay, and then at the end, I actually asked that I asked on my Instagram for people to send me things that they liked about the film, so that maybe we can actually have a bit of an unbiased part about this, and maybe I am too emotionally attached to this. So we'll have that at the end. But without giving too much away, all right. I don't think the film before this, The Last Jedi, is a perfect film. Okay, I really didn't like their underutilization of Finn. I think it's a very interesting character. It showed, at least in The Force Awakens, which isn't a film I like. J.J. Abrams keeps saying that there's things like that. He keeps saying that there are things that are like rhyming. He says these films are like poetry, whether they rhyme. So they rhyme like the other films. I felt like The Force Awakens rhymed too much with Star Wars A New Hope. But I liked Finn. That was a new element. All of the new elements I really enjoyed. I liked Finn. I liked the fact that, and I remember thinking at the time, wow, we're going to have, this guy's a former stormtrooper. We're going to be able to see elements of the Empire. Not that it's even the Empire, it's the fucking First Order. I'll talk about that more. We're going to... Do you know what? Sorry, I need to have fucking... There's no way of getting into this without fucking spoilers, okay? So if you don't want to hear about Star Wars, let me tell you this. I'll give you this, right? My review of Star Wars. 1 star. Wars. 1 star, okay? I give this film 1 star. I thought... The Irish Times called it unworthy of the word cinema. And I remember reading that thinking, how the fuck can they even say that? Oh, look, you're just looking for some clickbait. And I completely understand it. It lacks vision. It lacks creativity. It lacks logic. It lacks sense. It lacks even a basic respect or understanding of the franchise and its characters. Or even its own trilogy. It lacks an understanding of the film before. It lacks an understanding of the first film that the guy fucking made for himself. So that's it. That's my review of Star Wars. 1 star. Guys, I am going to sing you my little Christmas song that I wrote for Christmas about elves on a shelf. And I'll see you in a second so I can get into the spoilers.
I am just a little elf sitting upon my shelf. Oh, won't you come and sit with me? Here we are, it's Christmas time. Let's have some mince pies and mulled wine. Celebrate the season of fun and glee. You've come home with Bill again. Why do you keep getting back with him? He doesn't treat you like he should. 'Cause I've been watching you all season long. I watch you put on that Mrs. Claus thong, 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 thong. Oh, I'm made of felt, but I'm made of wood. Sitting here between a book and a wall, I sit here staring, I see all, and I'll keep smiling even when you frown. 'Cause I am just a little elf, and you should really start looking after yourself, and don't let those dumb boys get you down. I put my little elf hand right on your clit and go to fucking town on it. Show you how it feels to love a man. I bury my little plastic face right in your puss. We're floating in space, it's just the two of us. Now tell me, can Bill fuck you like I can? 'Cause I'm just little elf sitting upon my shelf. Oh, won't you come and sit on me?
From the opening, the first line of this film, you get the opening crawl, and you're like, okay, do you know what? I'm in again. This is Star Wars, baby. Let me tell you about Star Wars. I remember, right, I was sick, and my mum used to work in a Montessori, and she couldn't leave me at home, so she brought me over to the Montessori, which was in this woman's house, and they just sat me in a room. They sat me in a little den, and they're like, look, and I remember there was just walls and walls of videos, and they were like, put on whatever you want. Put on whatever you want there, and just, you're going to have to stay in here pretty much for the day, because I was contagious, but I had to be nearby my mum. First thing I put on was The Empire Strikes Back, right? I put on The Empire Strikes Back. It was on VHS. I hadn't even seen A New Hope, right? And then the opening crawl, and the fucking hairs on my neck just seeing the opening crawl. And I didn't even understand what was going on. I hadn't seen A New Hope. And then you see the Battle of Hoth. You were scared by the Wampa. You see Yoda, and you're like, wow, this is incredible. The fucking Lando double cross, and you're like, what? You see Luke, Vader's on Dagobah, what? He cuts the face off, it's Luke inside that, what? And then he's like, I gotta go, and Yoda's like, no, you can't, you're gonna die, and he's seeing these visions, and he goes, and then the fucking face off, Han gets frozen, there's bounty hunters, there's love, there's Harrison Ford being a fucking charming rogue, there's incredible sexual chemistry between the two, they just had unbelievable chemistry, there's the music, there's the asteroids, they go into the asteroid and then the big mouth comes out, what are you fucking kidding me? And then there's the face-off, this guy I've been following gets his hand cut off, what? How's he going to get that back? And then the fucking crux of that, he finds out that cunt's his dad. Oh my God. All hope is lost. What is going to happen? I love these films. I love it. That time when I watched it, I was genuinely, I think I had measles at the time, and I think even my eyes were itchy, and the back of my throat was itchy. And then after that, I put on Return of the Jedi, and then I put on A New Hope, and I watched all of them there that day, and it was, through my sickness, one of the best days of my life was when I saw these films. So I have a bit of an attachment to them. The 2 Christmases after that, I think that was, maybe 3 years after that, they had the re-releases. And I loved all the re-releases. I love the fact that they put Jabba the Hutt in and, all this crap. And they were like, oh, wow, and all these fucking womp or whatever the fucking sandcrawlers are going out, whatever, all the extra special effects. And I loved it all. And I was like a bit skeptical of it then, I was there for the prequels opening day. I went to go see all of them opening day. I loved all of them at the time. I was maybe convinced by other people afterwards that they weren't very good, even though I would comfortably put on, The Phantom Menace a lot. So I love these films. So when I see the opening crawl, and it's like, and then you see the dead speak. And I knew the Emperor was back. And it says Emperor Palpatine is back. He has been sending sinister messages. What, like dick pics? Out to the fucking rebels. He's been sending sinister messages. There's been rumors about him back. I really, really, really didn't want the Emperor in this film. I didn't want anything that echoed to Return of the Jedi, because it just didn't make sense. They tried to introduce that whole idea with Snoke, someone more powerful, and it just didn't make sense. And then you see in the first, oh my God, I'm just so upset. You see Kylo Ren going on something, he's pissed off. He then finds this fucking thing that couldn't look anything more like a MacGuffin. This little pyramid thing that's hooked up to wires. Like, this is technology I've never even seen in Star Wars, hooked up to his TIE fighter, which means he can enter this dimension, which I was just actually relieved to see wasn't time travel. I was terrified it was immediately going to be time travel. Goes to this Emperor world, this Sith world, and in the first 5 minutes, the Emperor's back. He has proven the fact that he actually made a clone of Snoke, and that in his hiding, the Death Star blew up. The Death Star blew up in space. And actually, he blew up before the Death Star blew up. He was fucked into a reactor. He blew up. He was killed by Darth Vader. And then the Death Star blew up and he was shot out into space. And what were his followers? Just out there and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to see if I can pick up any rubbish. And he died, right? And somehow, now, in the first 5 minutes, he's back. He is the head of everything. He is the main villain. And he has a legion of ships that have planet-exploding guns. As powerful as the Death Star from the fucking Force Awakens. This thing that is more powerful than the Death Star that can just blow up a planet. The thing was a fucking planet, and he's got a legion of these ships. And then it's like, the Final Order, Will. The Final Order? Who the fuck are the First Order? Where did the First Order come from? How? You had 3 films, these prequels, that introduced the idea that there was a galactic senate, that they introduced clone troopers as an army. This was a peaceful senate. They had to introduce clone troopers to basically fight the Trade Federation. This was the whole idea, that they were at war now. The planets were at war. Okay? Now, the films aren't great, but it takes 3 films to understand how these guys got an army, how this thing happened, right? And then eventually then the Emperor takes over, basically instills a very right wing, and this army is then used for evil. That's essentially what happens, right? Who are the First Order, and how are they more powerful than the Empire? That's not even explained, but we've moved past that now. We've now moved on to the Final Order, right? And you have these massive ships run by fucking zombies, and now this is the main villain. This is why anything that I enjoyed about this film, I couldn't enjoy because it was built on a foundation of shit. It was built on a pyramid of shit that someone then put a fucking McFlurry on top of it. Oh, the other ice creams are available. I couldn't eat it because I knew what was based under it. So anything that I enjoyed about this film, Daisy Ridley's performance, Adam Driver's incredible performance, which JJ tries to fucking stifle by putting the fucking helmet back on. Why? You child. You fairy. How dare you? Rian Johnson didn't make a very good film. He made the best film of this trilogy. I don't like what he did with Finn. I don't like how he took him away from everyone. I don't like Poe Dameron being so fucking blind to everything and having this fucking revelation, and I didn't think that was a good kind of arc for him. And I didn't like Casino Planet. I didn't like the whole story about them running out of fuel. It's fucking sucked. And I didn't like what they did to poor Donald Gleason. But who knew they would even do even worse with this Donald Gleason? I tell you what, I'm gonna go order by order here because, and again, look, I'm sorry if this isn't funny, right? Next, I tell you what, the next episode is going to be the next episode of this is pure self-improvement. It's all about being new you, new me. I'm going to talk about my struggles with trying to get fit and blah blah blah. And there's going to be some guided mindfulness provided by me for next week's episode. It's going to be chock full of gags. It's free content, guys. You don't have to listen to it if you don't want to. Anyway, the dead speak. Fuck off. This fucking MacGuffin. Fuck off. I'm telling you this, right? My fingers, and I'm not joking, were sore from flipping the screen off, from giving the finger to this screen. I was there with a group of my lads, and Jordan was next to me, and he said, "You need to stop shouting," because I kept saying "fuck off" to the screen. I tell you what I like. I like Rey. I like Finn. I like Poe. And I like their dynamic. I like that Poe is a bit roguish, but a bit stupid. I like that Finn is also a bit stupid. And I like his reaction. And I think the performances from all of them are great. And I like Rey. Right? And I loved the fact that they reintroduced C-3PO in this in a more kind of comic relief capacity. Did they treat him a bit like Screech from Saved by the Bell? Yes. Were they maybe a bit bullyish? They were like almost like I fucking hate you, 3PO. This guy is doing everything for you. He's just translated the language. And I didn't mind the fact that they're going to planet to get things that they have to. No, I didn't like that. You know, who am I kidding? There's a pyramid that they have to get, and also the fucking Jedi Bible, and there's a picture of it in it. There is no Jedi Bible. It's passed down person to person. The Jedi Bible that Rey has. Oh, I'm just going to check my book. Oh, hang on, the thing from 2 minutes ago is also in this book. How gratifying. But anyway, they go to the fucking Indian planet with all the elephants. And yeah, it's decent world building. It's fun, right? They're celebrating fucking Diwali, and that's good fun. And then Rey uses her fucking healing. Oh, God, I don't even know if I can do this, guys. What do we got here? Right, they have to go to the Indian planet because that's where Luke went. When they get there, Rey shows off a couple of new force powers, which can fuck off, by the way. The healing thing can fuck off. The entire premise of episode 3 was the fact that Anakin Skywalker, the most powerful Jedi with the highest midichlorian count of all time, wanted to find a way of healing. And even Palpatine couldn't do this skill. He said it could potentially be taught. Healing, okay? So the entire premise of this film is that Anakin turns against the Jedi who have been training him for years, for maybe even 20 years at this stage, have not been able to train him in healing. And only the Sith can apparently do this. That is why he leads a rampage and kills all of the Jedi. Okay, is this healing power? This is this unbelievable power. How is it that Rey, right, a Jedi with no training, with a montage training, like Luke Skywalker is not a great Jedi. He isn't. He if you look at him against other Jedi, he doesn't do a force push. Very powerful. He does a big jump sometimes. That's not what it's about. He is a well-developed character outside of being a Jedi, and you see him change. When he shows up in Return of the Jedi and he's this confident, he actually looks like a different person. He carries himself so differently that there's conspiracy theories that they got in a different actor because Mark Hamill's performance is so different. It's on a par with my favorite. I'm jumping all over the place here, but one of my favorite comic book film of all time is the original Richard Donner Superman, because my favorite thing about it is what's his fucking name? Christopher Reeve's performance as Clark Kent and his performance as Superman are chalk and cheese. They're so different and they're so gratifying, and he's fabulous, right? How did I get onto this? Anyway, healing. So how is it that Rey, on a whim, thinks she can heal and thinks she can pass force energy into a snake? Why? Why not just kill the thing? But anyway, healing can fuck off. And you know what? I'm going to talk about Mandalorian a little bit after this, because I do actually really enjoy The Mandalorian. The healing can fuck off. And I think Baby Yoda, the fact that they brought in healing for him in The Mandalorian, I don't know if you've seen that. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I think they brought that in to make that palatable. That people weren't just going to fucking balk at the idea that Rey's doing this. Lightning, okay, fine. Lightning, fine. In fact, I liked that. And I loved the idea of the consequence that Rey is actually a bit more powerful than we've thought. Does she need to be a bloodline? No. Does she need to be the Emperor's fucking granddaughter? No. She doesn't need to be anything. Rian Johnson brought in this idea. I'm so sorry about this, guys. I'm jumping all over the place. Rian Johnson brought in The Last Jedi, the idea that anyone can be a Jedi. That bloodlines are not important. That Rey, your parents don't matter. And I thought that was fabulous. I loved it. And then Rian Johnson completely undoes that by saying, Adam Driver, Rey, I told you your parents were no one, and that's right, they were, but your grandfather was Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine, someone who no one has been talking about for the 5 hours that the previous films have been in existence. No one's been talking about this. No one was talking about the Emperor. And they're like, what? Palpatine? So, as well as that, what was I saying? As well as that, this whole fucking bloodline thing, you know, what am I don't fucking know. The throne of the Sith. Here's another note I wrote. The throne of the Sith. The Sith language. Fuck off. You can't just fucking make things up. Like, you can't just be like, that's why the later seasons of The American Office piss me off, right? Well, they didn't piss me off, but they'd be like, Michael, or what do you mean Michael? It'd be like Dwight, later on, after Michael would be gone, Dwight would walk in and he'd be dressed as an octopus. And he'd be like, fucking Jim would be to camera. Okay, so every fourth Friday of April every year, Dwight comes in believing he's an octopus. Well, this year I thought that, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. How many fucking traditions can you have? You've literally had as many traditions as there are days. So you can't just then fucking... I can accept that because I love it and it's a comedy. This, the Pyramid of the Sith, and there are two. Oh, great. That means you can get one. The Dagger of the Sith, the Coin of the fucking Republic, the Throne of the Sith, the Language of the Sith. You can't just make stuff up. You can't. You don't get to do that. You inherited a film, and this is what you get hiring the guy who wrote fucking Justice League to write your film. And then they leave the Sand Planet and they have to go to the black market. Because they have to get someone who can undo C-3PO's mind so that he can read the Sith language. And to be fair, do you know what? They get to them, and this is the best part of the film. Babu Freak, the little tiny puppet man is the fucking best thing about this. Babu Freak is unreal. Every time he was on the screen, me and the lads were like, yo! We were loving it. So we will take Babu Freak, right? But then when they're on their way to the black market, they go off in that other ship, the one that Rey remembers from when she was a child. And it takes off, right? And it has blue thrusters. And then behind it, a ship with red thrusters, because red means bad. It's this sort of fucking spoon feeding that is just so, like, how about we look back on this film in about 4 years and we look for the Easter eggs? How about that? How about that for gratification? How about we don't need immediately? I'm actually going to faint. I wrote down here in my notes, if this was a campaign, a D&D campaign run by 7-year-olds, I would say it was too one-dimensional, right? They need to go to get the thing, to get the thing, to get the thing, to get the thing, in that order. There is no, we need to get the pyramid, but... No, there's nothing in the way. We need to get the thing, to get the thing, to the thing, and there's people following them every single step of the way. We need to get the thing, but this, and with that, it means this. There's none of that happening. There's no. It's just get to A, go to B, go to C, go to D. Then they get the dagger. There's a medallion. To board what? What did I wrote down here, who are the First Order? Because seriously, guys, you have how long did it take the Empire to become the Empire? And then the First Order just pop up overnight. And this is the thing. They have no affinity with the Empire. Apparently, they have no affinity with the Empire. Which is why then you have fucking Richard E. Grant, who was a follower of the Empire, now following the Emperor. Why did he need to be a clone? Why? A clone. And what was he communicating? How was he so powerful? How was the Emperor so powerful? He blew up, and then the Death Star blew up. And this cunt is on a fucking drip. How is he communicating and pulling strings all across the galaxy and having a more powerful legion of fleets when this is a guy who had to work his entire political career just to get that? And now it's just, he has even, it makes no sense. And then whatever, they find out Chewbacca has been held captive. They use the Rocketeer's coin to board the Super Star Destroyer. And then what do? They get on there with no plan. They have no plan whatsoever. When the Millennium Falcon, and how many times has this happened now? They've gone on board a Star Destroyer, or they've gone on board the Death Star, or they've gone on board a thing. In A New Hope, the Millennium Falcon gets pulled in, and they make a decision that they're going to smuggle themselves, they're going to let the stormtroopers come on, and then they're going to shoot them, and they're going to come out dressed as stormtroopers. That's a plan, okay? In this, they land. This is a Super Star Destroyer with potentially 10,000 stormtroopers on it, and they just run off, and they start shooting, and they're like, oh, we're just going to find Chewie. We're just going to find him. We're just going to find him. And this fucking helmet. JJ, I'm sorry, man. They took away the helmet because Rian Johnson, a fucking auteur director, realized that Adam Driver's face is one of the best things about his performance, and you don't want to fucking hide that under a helmet. And he's not trying to be Darth Vader anymore. And he goes back and he's looking at the fucking Darth Vader helmet. You don't get to do that. I'm so sorry, guys, that this is born. You don't get to do that. You don't get to just go back. You inherited a world where it took 3 films to build a legion of ships and an army. So that's the clip you have to go by, JJ, if you want to get the same thing. You inherited a world where healing doesn't exist. It is something that is dangled over the head of a Jedi to make them do things and turn to the Sith. It is not something that an apprentice just gets to fucking do on a worm. You don't get to do that. Now, I will say this. New Jedi power, Rey and Kylo communicating through space, love it. Did you come up with it? No. Rian Johnson did. Did you add to it that if someone cuts a fucking barrel, berries can spill in another world? Yes, you did. And you fucked it. So the things you inherited, you fucking ruined. And the things, like, honestly, the money that goes into this, you couldn't have come up with a better way of this working. And also, they get on board the ship, and poor fucking Donald Gleeson, who, to be fair, Rian Johnson, you fucking made him a fucking laughing stock. He had the most unbelievable thing. And that was a great dynamic. You have General Hux and Kylo Ren, both vying for Daddy's attention. Love that. Don't like Snoke. Like the fact that there's someone up. It could have been a Grand Moff Tarkin. It could have been someone like that. It could have been just someone who's ahead of the First Order, that they're vying for their attention. I like that dynamic. 2 warring siblings. They fucking shit-can that. Rian Johnson made him a laughing stock. You look at that speech where General Hux is giving a speech to the First Order on Starkiller Base. It's incredible. And his eyes look like they're going to bust out of his skull. Then he gets this fucking line. They find out there's a spy in this film. He's like, right, let me kill them. Shoots the fucking stormtroopers, right? And then they turn around, what? And then he says, I'm the spy. That's the intelligence that JJ thinks you are. This is the respect this guy gives you. Thinks there's no way you're going to possibly figure that out in any more nuanced way than giving Donald Gleeson 3 words in this film that says, I'm the spy. Palpatine's granddaughter, fuck off. And then, right, I actually thought what they did with Leia looked decent, right? I can appreciate Carrie Fisher's dead, and they had all the footage from Force Awakens, and they did a good job. I thought they did a good job. Some people said that her head looks too big for her body. I thought it looked great. But then you have to have a lot of people giving exposition about her. And then you have your one, Mia, whatever her name is, your one with the fucking assholes for eyes. You have your one with the assholes for eyes saying to R2-D2, R2, only Leia knows what needs to be done. To reach her son will take all the strength she has left. Why are you even saying that? I know why you're saying it, so you can explain the fact that there was no lines for Leia to say and she's going to disappear. And then they bring in Harrison Ford. And I wrote down here in my notebook, how fucking dare you? How dare you? And then what do they do? What do they do? They can't maybe make it out that the Han Solo was maybe a Jedi? Then maybe Han Solo has some sort of force powers? No. They have Kylo Ren. This is a memory. Do you know what? I'm jumping all over the place because I will say this. I'm not going to everything in order here, just the notes that I have. The fight between the two of them, I thought was good. Anything with Rey and Kylo, I thought was great. And I thought the Leia reaching Kylo and saying Ben, and then Rey taking advantage of that and killing him, was good. I loved that. And I thought maybe because of their connection, she could pass on some sort of force power. I might take that. Her healing a fucking slug, I'm not taking that. But then they bring Harrison Ford back and you hear it. And he's like, my son, and all that stuff. And then Kylo says, oh, this is just a memory. I know this is just a memory. And you have to explain that to the fans. This is just a memory. Well, then you don't get to do that. You don't get to bring back a character if it's a memory. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's a memory. This is just boring. I'm so sorry, guys. Feel free to just fucking bow out of this. Honestly, next week is going to be a funny episode. I can assure you this. And then Harrison Ford. And then she's on the fucking Skelligs. And she's like, I'm going to give up. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then she throws her lightsaber away. And it's caught by fucking Luke. So there you go. There you are. Let me fucking force feed you this. You had fucking Leia. You had Han. Now you've got Luke. And I just wrote here, you can fuck off. Carve your own path. And Lando earlier, I didn't mention that. Lando Lando apparently went to this planet full of elephants with Luke and never left? This is a guy who enjoys the finer things in life. This is a guy who's essentially the king of Bespin. Had his own robot butlers and now he's living as a fucking Jawa. As a fucking Jawa. Why? It makes zero sense. And also he's just laughing at everything. He keeps showing up. And then Rey is like, how am I going to get off this thing? The X-Wing's gone. At least I have the magic MacGuffin that can get me to the Emperor. And then Luke lifts the ship and they play the music from Empire Strikes Back. Where they're trying to do this thing. They're trying to masquerade. They're trying to make me feel like I felt when little Yoda, raised the X-Wing out of the swamp in Dagobah and Luke... The person who didn't believe, he was not a true believer. I'm trying to say the fucking non-believer. The non-believer couldn't believe that this little rat man could lift his X-Wing. And he says, and the music swells and the lights, and Yoda lifts this thing, this tiny thing. You see the full power of the Jedi for the first time. This is a power you've never seen before. And Luke says, I don't believe it. And Yoda says, and that is why you fail. Oh, my nipples are hard right now thinking about it. And then they try and recreate that. Fucking how dare you. And then I just wrote, where did the ships come from? Where did the First Order come from? Fuck you. Fuck you. And I actually wrote this line here. I wrote here, everyone here in the cinema is now dumber having seen this film. Whatever, it gets to the end, the Iron Throne, they have to take out the satellite again. They have to take out the satellite again to bide time. Luke says as well, oh yeah, take both lightsabers. You're going to need Leia's lightsaber as well. That's Leia's lightsaber. I had it. I had it for whatever reason. I brought it. I took it away. And you know what? Actually, I liked seeing the CG, them training. I'd watch a CG film of Leia and Luke in training. I like the idea of Leia being a Jedi. I do like that. I mean, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, unreal. Okay, I need to get my thoughts together here. Okay, the Emperor, right? The Emperor, this lad on a fucking drip. This is the reanimated corpse of a Jedi. of a Sith who was killed by Darth Vader. This guy was killed. So he was bested by a Jedi. He was bested in hand-to-hand combat with a Jedi in his prime. So how is it this motherfucker on a fucking drip is able to take out Rey, who seems to be the most powerful Jedi of all time, inexplicably, and Kylo Ren, who also is able to stop fucking blaster fire in midair, and is also one of the most powerful fucking Jedi of all time. These two guys can carry fucking ships. They can prevent ships from taking off. Yet this guy on a fucking drip has been able to build an even bigger army. What did he get? Fucking lucky? What is this cult? Oh my god. Anyway. And then he's able to incapacitate these two, take out his fucking lightning. Then the fucking ships all show up and Lando's like, woohoo, and all this fucking stuff. And also, you can't use the Star Wars theme. You can use inflections of the main Star Wars theme, in a mini heroic moment. But then you have to bring it in. You can't have all the ships are showing up. You can't have all that. All the ships show up and it's the main Star Wars. What's that reminiscent of? The fucking opening credits. You can't do that. You have to have, elements of it. You can't just fucking have the main Star Wars crawl. Anyway, then he sucks powers out of the fucking two of them. And then he has what? Super lightning. Super lightning, really? So all of these ships that have Death Star cannons on them are not as powerful as the Emperor, who is able to incapacitate every ship in the galaxy. I'm actually crying. Guys. It's just so disappointing. It's so disappointing. And then at the end, she has one lightsaber. One lightsaber against lightning. Okay, whatever. They can absorb lightning, fine. And then he goes, I am all the Sith. And then she goes, I am Iron Man. Takes out the other lightsaber, 2 lightsabers. Oh, that wins. You have no idea. This guy has no idea about Star Wars. 2 lightsabers, that wins, does it? Because you're an idiot. Because I'm an idiot. Oh, but then she got the extra lightsaber. It's just so fucking bad. It's not funny. That's the thing. This is what's disappointing. Cats was not sexy enough or interesting enough or at any point that I can even talk about it, in a funny way. This is just disappointing. And I did ask that people would send in some things that they liked about it, right? So I'll read out a couple of here, just things that people liked about the new Star Wars. So hang on a second. Let's see here. Excellent emotional type of story. Kylo Ren's redemption is amazing. I didn't mind Kylo Ren's redemption. Yeah, I think Kylo Ren's redemption in isolation would have been very good. It's such a fucking shame, though, that he couldn't just be the supreme leader on his own. Imagine that. Imagine the redemption when he would have given up everything. Visual effects, yeah, was good. It's marriage story from the perspective of the kid caught in the middle of it all. That's very cute. Kieran 2054. Yeah, like everyone's saying, look, Kylo, great. Kylo, loads of fun. Rey, loads of fun. A lot of people saying that the kind of Indiana Jones aspect of it, that they had to get all these ruins and stuff like that. There's elements of that I wouldn't have minded. You don't put that in the third film. Maybe they did put it at the start of the film, but there was too much exposition up top. Adam Driver's performance. This is all I'm getting. Adam Driver's performance, incredible. Babu Freak absolutely was number one. And actually, someone said best ending to a franchise I've ever seen. I don't know if they're being sarcastic. Actually, was that? I actually, do you know what? I liked the ending. I really liked the ending. I really, if the film that had happened, if the film that I saw hadn't happened, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But Rey on Tatooine, burying the lightsabers, they're gone. And she's like, I'm not setting up a Jedi Academy. I'm living my life. I'm living a life as a recluse. People are happy now. And that's it. And if she wants to call herself Rey Skywalker because she had never had a name, and that's the family that she feels closest to, so be it. What's your name? Rey. What's your surname? Skywalker. Fine. What other things? What other things were people saying? Let's see here. Everyone's just saying Ben and Rey, and I totally agree. Leia being a Jedi was cool. See, this is like there's minor elements that I think in safer hands, in better hands, it could have pulled it off. Look, guys, I know you listen to this podcast just for a bit of fun, and we'll have a lot more fun next week. I haven't enjoyed talking about this. I actually when we walked out of the cinema, we actually hugged each other, me and my mates, and we just said, it's over. R.I.P. Star Wars, and long live the fucking Mandalorian. Okay, here's where we're getting excited. Guys, you need to be watching The Mandalorian. Actually, you know, I've been talking too much here. I'll talk about The Mandalorian, how much I love it, in another episode, because I've been talking just far too much here. So this is how I'm playing you out. I hope you have a very fucking gorgeous Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. And I'll chat to you next week before I catch you for the year in review. And we'll be talking about getting fit, getting famous, and whatever. Fucking whatever. New year, new you. Wait, come back. Come back. Guys, I talked about it earlier. About not having that night on the pints. I had it last night. And I forgot to add my tour dates at the end of this podcast. So I'll let you know now. I'm in bed. I'm recording this on my phone. I could get up and plug in my mic, but I'm not plugging that in. Anyway, February 7th and 8th, I'm in the Town Hall Theatre in Galway. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Come see me for a romantic night in Cypress Avenue in Cork. I believe February 15th or 13th, I think it's 15th, I am in Bray for the Bray Comedy Festival. February 20th, I'm in Limerick in Dolan's. February 22nd, I'm in the Abbey Tavern in Howth. Limited tickets available. March 14th, I'm in Ratoath. March 21st, I'm in Dundalk in the Spirit Store. March 25th and 26th in the Sugar Club, that's sold out. And March 27th in Blanche. So there you have it now. Great stocking fillers and last minute gifts or New Year's presents, whatever. I'm going back to bed.